Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be checking out the Packard plant, which is one of the largest abandoned car factories in the United States. We'll also be going over some history and showing some old pictures. So if you want to see that, definitely stick around. Up here we have the water tower. It's pretty cool. Got like 3 floors. Apparently this whole space is over 4 million square feet. So we got stairs here. So we got a RV over here. Nothing's really inside though. Under the water tower now. The Packard plant has become one of the most famous ruins in all of Detroit. In 1903, the Packard Automotive Company would relocate its headquarters from Warren, Ohio to Detroit, Michigan. The Packard Motor Car Company was one of the first automotive companies in Detroit and was at one time one of the most innovative. The 10th building constructed in the complex would be the first industrial building ever built using only reinforced concrete. Eventually all the original buildings at the Packard plant would be replaced by reinforced concrete, and by 1910 it would become the largest auto plant in the United States. It would grow to 4 million square feet and employ as many as 40,000 workers at its peak. Packard's cars for the first few decades were some of the most luxurious American cars. They became the favored cars of the rich, and in the early 1920s were outselling Lincoln, Cadillac, and Pierce Arrow. During World War I, Packard would ship thousands of cars and trucks overseas. However, the biggest contribution to the war was the Liberty aircraft engine. Almost 7,000 of these engines were built at the plant during the war. After the war in 1920, the plant would introduce the assembly line and automated equipment. During the Great Depression, demand for luxury vehicles decreased and Packard would have to come out with a more affordable vehicle. Their answer was the Packard 120, which debuted in 1935. By the end of the 1930s, Packard's model lines had started to become outdated and they weren't updating and coming out with new models, as much as Ford, Dodge, and GM. In 1941, a new car called the Packard Clipper was introduced, but production plummeted after the United States entered World War II. During the war, 55,000 Merlin aircraft engines were produced. Following the war, the Clipper had already started to become outdated compared to competitors. And due to no new models, supplier strikes, and shortages in steel severely hurt Packard's financials. In the 1950s, smaller automakers were struggling to compete against the 3 largest automakers in the U.S. Cadillac had emerged as the premier luxury American brand, as the Packard brand was not as innovative now, and moving into lower markets hurt the brand's prestige. Another problem Packard faced was the entire production facility. Assembly lines were most efficient in single-story buildings. Packard's buildings were thin, multiple-floored buildings. They did not have the money to construct a new facility. By 1954, Packard would move production to a facility on Conner Avenue in Detroit. Also in 1954, Packard would merge with Studebaker in an attempt to remain competitive. However, this merger was unsuccessful and Packard production halted in 1956 in Detroit, and 2 years later, the Packard name was discontinued. Studebaker would produce their last vehicle in 1966. Following Packard's closing, the former Packard plant was leased out to various companies over the decades. This industrial complex was also known as the Motor City Industrial Park. In 1998, the City Council of Detroit voted to remove the manager of the plant, whose name was Dominic Christini. The police would attempt to evict him, however they were unsuccessful, and a standoff would last for several months. In 1999, almost all businesses were evicted, and the city began demolishing part of the plant, but a court order halted demolition. Eventually, all taxes were paid off, and the Michigan Supreme Court ruled the city had improperly seized the property and ownership returned to Dominic Christini. However, he was not able to do much with the property because he would be charged with selling ecstasy in 2004 and be found guilty and spend over 5 years in prison. He would be released in 2010, but by that time the plant was in worse condition, as scrappers and vandals had almost free reign over the property. The last tenant in the property would move out in 2010. Multiple TV shows were shot here, and one of the Transformers movies also shot scenes here. Christini lost ownership of the plant in 2013 due to non-payment of taxes, and a new owner took over. This new developer had plans to renovate and turn this facility into a mixed-use campus. However, the project turned out to never come to fruition and was put up for sale again in 2020. Part of the plant owned by the city was demolished in 2019. No renovation is currently underway, and the plant continues to fall into more disrepair and is now at risk again of being demolished. Big trash pile, a lot of tires. We got more factory space up here. Looks like just real big empty floors. Goes super far that way, and this is just one section of the building. There's like 3 blocks that are covered by this whole building. See, there's more over there. This room here looks like there's a bunch of pallets. This is a super long hallway. You can zoom all the way in, you can't really see the end. Yeah, maybe at the very back there, I'm not too sure.
How long do you think it is?
A good few hundred yards. A couple hundred yards at least. Alright, it looks like that's the other part over there. This looks like this is about gonna wrap up our video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll have more coming out.